how, again, the capital letters of your name, this is what we're talking about, applies to your real life. Hey, your disability. Your disability has all capital letters if you're on disability. I don't know who's on disability, but
well, I know somebody who got a not wearing a mask ticket for something like $143 or something, and wrote following these rules to the courts.
Yeah.
And then I think they wrote back, and then she wrote again.
Yeah.
And they just dropped it.
Yeah, for sure.
So they didn't even argue with her.
Yeah, because you see, their story really breaks down when you just look into it for a moment. And a lot of the people who have been working there now at these agencies and banks and everything now, they're starting to become aware of it themselves, going, well, wow, I still want to get paid, right? So I can't just turn my back on the bank. But they are bearing the file. They themselves are just going, oh, geez, they're right. And I don't want to lose my job. So I'll just put the file over here and not deal with it anymore almost. But in a sense, that is a win for the Canadian people because silence is consent. When they are silent and they don't say anything more after you ask a reasonable question, by definition, you won the debate, right? So, that's the kind of stuff that we're doing at UnitedWeStandPeople.com. We're taking all this stuff and really applying it. And getting real applicable results for people's situations.
Where do you see it going? I gather you're growing as opposed to everyone knows it and it's everywhere.
We're doing really well. What I honestly see what's going to happen here is that eventually people are going to want to say, well, how do I get my bond? And we would say to you, sign up and the way you sign up is you send 3 complaints to these lawyers, these culprits that we have out on the YouTube, and there'll be a direction there. And once you are an active member of sending complaints, then you will be placed into a class action lawsuit that we're putting together, a group actively looking to take full control of their bonds. Okay, so just another example of this is credit cards, right? Every time you're dealing with a credit card, again, it is accessing your bond and it's lending you your own money. Every transaction, even just off of your credit card. So, some people would say that, oh, well, nobody's ever got access to their bond. A lot of people say that. I say that's not true. I say all of us are getting access to our bond through our credit cards and the banks. We're just not aware of it. We're not aware where the money's coming from. But you see, when we become aware of it, that, oh my God, is that where it's coming from? It's my own money. And they've been tricking me to believe that I owe them it now after with a percentage. And in some cases, if I don't pay this fictitious loan, they come and take my real property. Like, this is what people need to start getting aware of is where do we stand in every one of these transactions? What is our identity in every one of these transactions? And and if I take the real role, which is chief executive officer of a company name by name that was opened up on my birth date, that gives you a lot more power as a chief executive officer, as a lowly citizen that goes to the politicians. That's what they want you to be. They want you to be identified as a citizen that go to politicians to fix everything. Well, I got a better idea. The truth and the more powerful and empowering position is being a chief executive officer, the truth of your own company, and you're applying your will as the chief executive officer, and that would mean that you know what is reasonable questions to ask and what are reasonable responses you should expect in order to get your due process in the Canadian society, right, that we live in, and all of us are fighting to make sure it stays that way. And this is a real applicable way to do it. And again, it's because all capital letters, many people know about that and have just been aware of that, but they just couldn't take it. It's just evolution. We're taking it to the next level now in a commerce world that we live in, and how they're actually really accessing our bonds without our knowledge. But every day they go into our bonds. When you look at all the transactions, even your utility bills are in all capital letters. Your cell phone bills are in all capital letters, right?
It's so amazing because with all this COVID scam, etc., you got to do this in a narrative, and it's a mandate actually and not a law. over and over, we're not told the truth about things. And this is just one other way when we are not told the truth about things. And the truth is right there, but who would suspect it? Because, when we live on the surface of things and we get that hydro bill or cell phone bill, sure, I signed up for it, etc., but it's a very interesting thing. When is it and when is it not? When has Hydro already sold it to someone else? In which case, could somebody else please come forward?
Right, right. Well, I think it all starts from grade 1 to grade 12, right? I mean, they really never taught us, let's say, how the banks worked. I mean, there's one thing in this world that they knew was going to happen, is we were going to interact with the banks. They knew that. And they never told any of us about how the banks work.